457 plans. What are they? And should you have one? I get this question occasionally. Not a lot, but not an insignificant amount either. And so I definitely want to tackle this real quick. 457, anytime I hear a 457, I know we're dealing with someone who's working for a nonprofit or a government entity, a university particularly, nonprofit. And what typically happens is, we'll just use a typical example. Wife doesn't make a whole lot of money, maybe $40,000 working for a nonprofit, I don't know, SPCA or something like that. They don't have a retirement plan other than her ability to contribute in a 457 typically, or she works as an admin over at the taxing authority for the county. But she does have a 457 plan available, or even in particular, she's a school teacher or a university admin of some sort. A lot of universities will have 457 plans. Husband is the primary breadwinner. Maybe he's running an electrician business or something like that. And so the kids are out of the house. Wife hasn't really saved much money because she was working at home, taking care of the kids. Husband's making more money, so now she goes to job force, making again $40,000. But they do offer 457 plans to defer, and so now she's thinking, well, there's no match here. I don't need my income, so I'll defer it to a 457 plan, as opposed to, because there's no match. A lot of nonprofits don't have a match, and a lot of them don't have pensions. But we don't need the income while husband's still working. So I want to defer taxes as long as I can. And I'll put it into a 457 plan. I hear that a lot, actually. A 403B plans come to mind as well. So nonprofits and state and local government entities. All right. The issue with the 457 is your employer isn't doing anything. They're not going to contribute anything. It's just all on you. The nice thing about a 457 plan is you don't have to wait till you're 59 and a half to tap into it without being taxed at the 10% penalty. So there's a benefit there, without question. There's, without question, a benefit. And if you have a lot of money, you can defer into your 457 plan and your other plans, 403Bs or 401Ks as well. So it gives you some serious deferral opportunity. I just don't think it's all that's cracked up to be. I think deferrals are way overblown, and we'll talk about it here in just a second. So let's go into this, a 457 plan. They're IRS-sanctioned tax advantage employee retirement plans offered by state and local public employers and some nonprofit employers. They are among the least common forms of defined contribution plans. Defined contribution, a 401k and a 457 plan, are funded when employees contribute through payroll deductions, i.e. they're deferring salary. These funds pass to the retirement account without being taxed unless the participant opens a Roth, and we talk about that, all right? So as of 2019, 457 plans have an annual maximum contribution of $19,000. So going back to that lady, she's got $19,000 she can put in there. Immediately, her taxable income would be reduced by $19,000. So that makes sense because she's deferring $19,000. But if she's over the age of 50, she has another $6,000 she can contribute. So in this case, $25,000 can go pre-tax, not tax-free, but tax-deferred, which would mean that $40,000 of income is now reduced to, was that $15,000 because of catch-up contributions. All right, contributions to each plan qualify for an employee savers tax credit. I got to do a video on employers savers tax credit. And you can take loans from a 401k or 457 plan as well as a 401k, of course. But they are a type of tax advantage non-qualified retirement plans that are not governed by ERISA. And so since ERISA rules do not apply, there is no premature withdrawal penalty to their participants, which means before the age of 59 and a half, you are not subject to the 10% penalty, which is freaking awesome. They are still subject to normal income taxes, of course, because it's tax deferred. It just means it's literally tax deferred. This is a pretty sweet thing. They feature a double limit catch-up provision that 401ks plans do not. This provision allows participants who are nearing retirement to compensate for years in which they did not contribute to the plan but were eligible to do so. Going back to the, that lady I was just telling you about. She's working as a nonprofit, working as an admin over at the university, the hospital, something like that. While her husband was busy making the money. Now she has the double catch-up limit. All right, so that means 457 plan participant may be able to contribute as much as $38,000 to the plan in 1 year. So in this case, it would wipe away any tax-deferred, or essentially almost all her taxable income. While both plans allow for early withdrawals, the qualifying circumstances of an early withdrawal eligibility are different. Both plans being the 401k and the 457. 457 accounts, hardship distributions are allowed after an unforeseeable emergency which must be specifically laid out in the plan's language. Both 457 plans, which are government and nonprofit 457 plans, allow for independent contractors to participate, 1099 employees. But 1099 employees are not eligible to participate in 401k plans. All right, but here's the interesting. Since 457 plans are not qualified retirement plans subject to ERISA, it is possible to contribute to both a 401k and a 457 at the same time. Many large employers offer both plans. In such cases, the joint participant is able to contribute the max amount to both. That means you can fully fund your 401k and your 457. Sounds good, but it's not. 401k plans and 457 plans are both tax advantage. 457 plans are offered by state and local governments and some nonprofits. The two plans are very similar, but because 457 plans are not governed by ERISA, there are some aspects that are treated differently, in particular the early withdrawals and the catch-up contributions that you can make. That's pretty significant. And the fact that you can contribute to both max. So you can put a lot of flipping money into both these guys. That's $50,000 if you're over the age of 50. Emma Moolman, CFA, CPA, says both plans allow employees to save money for retirement by deducting from pre-tax income that employees contribute to the plan, which is then taxed and invested and taxed only upon withdrawal. All right, but she says, at which point the ordinary income tax rate is applied. Since we have no active earnings in retirement, our ordinary income tax rate is generally very low compared to a much higher rate when we're still part of the workforce. Accordingly, the tax deferral associated with a 401k and 457 can be meaningful tax savings today. The key difference between the two pertains to distribution rules. We already talked about. All right, so let's see. 401k plans at 10%, but only okay. So basically, what's happening here? Should you do a 457 plan? If your tax bracket is way up here, all right, and you are pretty convinced it's going to be way down here, yes, absolutely. But don't be convinced that's going to be way down here solely because you're not making any money. I mean, you have to look at the other aspects of the tax code, which are distributions that are 100% taxable as ordinary income from your 457 and from your 401k or 403b, or if you have a pension. I mean, just you can't, like our lady there, Emma Moolman, who said, look, we don't have any active income. Well, that doesn't mean you don't have any income. I mean, if you have qualified distributions, or not qualified distributions, if you have distributions from deferred accounts, that is active income. It's not, you're not earning income, but still active. You got to pay tax on that very first penny. If you got a pension, you got to pay tax on the very first penny. If you have secondary side hustle, putting decks on old people's homes or something like that, you got to pay tax. You see what I'm saying? On top of the Social Security, that's going to come down for you too. So I think the deferral stuff is way overblown. I think a lot of people get suckered into the idea, I can defer. I'm going to do another video here in just a few minutes on a guy who's making $36,000 a year and he's trying to defer every single penny. I said, I just don't get it. I'm going to do a video on that. But don't get too caught up in the deferrals of 457s to recognize that there is a wall you got to climb later on, which is the unforeseen consequence of significant distribution amounts. All right, you're going to take significant distribution amounts, and if you roll your 457 over to an IRA, which you certainly can do in your 401k, you're still going to have RMDs. I mean, you have required distributions. No getting around those things. No getting around about distributions on a qualified account or tax deferred account, I should say, in terms of the amount of tax you're going to have to pay on the very first penny as ordinary income. And so I'd say probably 10%, which is why university employees, a lot of times these professors, for instance, they'll have consulting work on top of the professorship. A 457 plan at that point might be a good idea because he can defer a lot of money on top of the 401k or whatever they offer through the university. But I think that's few and far between for the vast majority of people. I don't see a huge benefit of it because I think the tax deferral are way overblown. But anyway, something to think about for sure. I mean, don't just take my word for it. You got to look at your own 1040 and see where's the tax situation you have now. If you're in the 12% tax bracket, I wouldn't do a 457. If you are in a 22% tax bracket and the 457 contributions can put you in a 12% tax bracket, that's different. But if you're only in a 12% tax bracket, I just don't see the benefit of it. That's just my opinion. I'll let you decide that on your own. All right, we'll see you next time.